Good morning. I am Representative Bostock, and I want to thank everyone for attending this morning.
I'm going to do the rest of my speech by utilizing the great interpreting services that we have. I did give my last speech in ASL, but I'm not as practiced this morning and had a late night, so I'm just going to utilize the great services we have. And I want to start by thanking again everyone for coming here. This is our third Deaf Legislative Day, Deaf Hard of Hearing and Deaf Blind Legislative Day, and it's just so exciting and so thrilling to continue this proud tradition. The deaf, blind, and hard of hearing power in our community and in our state. And I also want to give a big thank you to our partners, to WISRID, to WAD, and to the HLAA. That's right. And again, thank you to all of the interpreters for their great work, and thank you to everyone for showing up. Today, I know we don't have the turnout we had last year or the year before. I had a lot of people messaging me saying that, the weather's really bad and, we got to watch out for our roads, especially in western and northern Wisconsin. But it's April. We planned this over, about a year ago, and what can you do? It's just nature. We thank everyone for showing up, and we know that there's a lot more people who care all over the state about these issues that will be joining us, hopefully with better weather next time, but we also want everyone to be safe, and we don't want to put people at risk, especially if there are weather advisories for local roads in different parts of the state. This all came to be years ago when I was meeting with Eve and with Katie at a coffee shop, and we were just talking about how important it is to kind of build these issues into the mentality of the state legislator and make sure that folks here knew what was going on and how important these issues are. And now I've met so many people who even have come for their first time, as well as recurring guests, and I just really am excited to have an event like this where we can keep growing every year and keep building on the progress that we've made. And last year when we were talking, we had some really important bills in front of us. There was some great education that happened. And in fact, we have lobbyists and lobby days for all sorts of different issues. We have the Grocers Association and, different car dealership groups and, the restaurateurs and all these different groups. And so we have a lot of different people with their legislative days, from architects to massage therapists to everyone in between. And I had many legislators come up to me and say, thank you for your work on this, because the Deaf Legislative Day is one of my favorite ones. And I really appreciate, being able to participate in it. So again, thank you all for making that happen. I think that although we worked really hard on our legislative priorities and made a lot of progress, it got harpooned, unfortunately, by some really bad actors. They were not the majority, but a powerful minority of bad actors were able to kind of blow up all the work we've done for this cycle. And that just means that we're going to have to get it past this next cycle. And I'm excited for that. I think we will be able to do it. It would have passed unanimously in the Assembly, near unanimously in the Senate, but sometimes it takes just a little bit of dynamite to blow up a big dam, so we've just got to rebuild. And I think that, I personally poured my blood, sweat, and tears into that, into that legislation, into that work. And I know I worked very closely with my colleague who will speak a little bit, Senator Teston and others, and many of you here. And I know how hard it was, but I will say this. Usually a bill correcting mechanisms of this nature takes 6 or 8 years, I would say. We almost got our work done in one cycle, which is very impressive. And the fact that this community was able to mobilize and bring in so many people and educate so many legislators that I wouldn't say were hostile before the work began, but were kind of like hostile in their ignorance, if that makes sense. People who were saying, well, why should they even have interpreting licenses? Because if I don't need a license to speak to you, they don't need a license to communicate in sign language. And we're just so ignorant of what the nature of the work is and what the deaf community needs were, and deaf, blind, and hard of hearing community. So now we have those same legislators coming up and saying, I'm really passionate about this. Let's see how we can get it done, and let's work to correct some of the problems going on right now to make sure that things are equitable for everyone. So I'm excited about that. And again, that's through the hard work you all have done and many others who are not with us today because of the weather conditions, but thank you. We've come a long way and we've overcome a lot of adversity, and I'm very, very confident that we'll be able to be successful next year. And by the way, there's a lot more we have to work on. There's a lot of mental health legislation. There's going to be LEAD K work. There's going to be a lot of other priorities that we're going to be able to, get done in this next cycle. But it all begins with the power in this room and with the folks, here who are working to make Wisconsin a better state for the deaf, blind, and hard of hearing communities. So thank you. Thank you. And with that, I'll just, wrap up by saying, remember, you meet with your legislators, you meet with their staff, and you might feel like it's an intimidating thing. I've heard people say that to me, and some people who I just met for the first time today say, oh my gosh, I didn't think I'd meet a legislator. I didn't think I'd talk to a legislator before. We work for you. You are the boss. You pay our salary. You elect us. You're the boss. And the work that we do is a reflection of the priority and the needs of the communities that we represent. So you tell us what to do, and that's how democracy works. And remember that. Don't be intimidated. In fact, if anything, legislators should be intimidated by you. You hold their job in your hands. So you run the show. You're in charge. And even though it's so great that you come here for a Deaf Lobby Day or for Deaf, Blind, and Hard of Hearing Legislative Day, you can also meet with your legislators on a regular basis for coffee once a month. Ask them, hey, I want to talk, about what you're doing for my community. What are we going to, what's up? Sit down and, have a meeting with them in the district over whatever, and make sure you're staying engaged, because this once a year event is really important, but there's no reason why you can't take it up a notch and say, hey, remember who you work for, and remember, we got work to do, and I want to hear from you, from my employee, what's getting done on my behalf. So with that, thank you again very much for coming through. Thanks for all the work. I look forward to a productive day and to learning more from everyone here, and to continuing the work with the community for many years to come, and to getting some legislative successes. So thank you very much. Appreciate you. And with that, I'm going to introduce my good friend and colleague, Senator Testin, who was the Senate lead and who also actually is going to tell us all the story, but kind of came here today because of Deaf Legislative Day. So thank you.
Good. All right. Well, first and foremost, I want to welcome all of you to the state capitol, especially with inclement weather. And I think we can all agree, Wisconsin's new slogan should be "Wisconsin, where winter never ends." It's so great. I see a lot of familiar faces who have worked with us over the past year and who came down to the Capitol on numerous occasions to testify on the legislation that we did for the deaf interpreter bill. And so first and foremost, I want to thank you for everything that you've done to help us get us to where we got. And unfortunately, we fell a little short, and as Representative Brostoff mentioned, the bill did get hung up through the bureaucratic maze, as I like to call it, but I am confident when we come back next January, I'm looking forward to working alongside Representative Brostoff again to introduce the legislation and get it to Governor Walker's desk. One of the reasons why I got involved with this legislation was I attended Deaf Lobby Day last year. So I'm a first-term state senator and represent the 24th Senate District, and it was really eye-opening for me because I had no idea how large the deaf community was in the state of Wisconsin. And I think for a lot of our colleagues, they'd probably agree. They didn't know. And it was so interesting just hearing some of the stories that were shared at that legislative day that it really took me aback, because for many of us who are able to hear, we take it for granted. And we may not necessarily know the challenges that each and every one of you live with day in and day out. And why it was so important to pursue legislation to make sure you have access to high quality interpreters, like the one right to my right. And so it's important that you come down here. As Jonathan mentioned, Don't be intimidated when you go into your legislator's office. As Jonathan mentioned, you guys are our bosses. See, we have the luxury and the privilege to represent and serve each and every one of you. And whether you're in the Assembly or in the State Senate, we have what we call our job performance every 2 or 4 years. So if you don't like the job that we're doing, you can give us a big pink slip and send us on our way. So don't be intimidated. Have good, productive conversations with your legislators. Share your stories. Because as legislators, oftentimes we only live in our little corner of the world. We know what we know through our own perspectives and life experiences. And unless you walk in someone else's shoes for a day, you don't know what challenges that they face. So share those stories. Share that with your legislators. So when we talk about these issues and when we draft legislation, they have a better understanding to the challenges that you face. And I'm confident, like I said, that we will get this done next session, regardless of what happens this November, because this is not a partisan issue. This is not a Democrat issue. It is not a Republican issue. It's a quality of life, and it's a Wisconsin issue. So I'm there to fight for you, to fight with you, and together, I'm confident we are going to do great things for the state of Wisconsin and for your community. So thank you for coming to Madison. I hope we have a great, productive day, and thank you for all that you do.
Good morning. I would like to welcome everyone to the 3rd annual Legislative Day. Sorry, I'm going to move so people can see me better. My name is Jody Negro. I am president of Wisconsin RID, and I am so honored to be here to represent all of the interpreters in our state. With me, we have strong leadership. We have strong leaders. Next to me, there she is. Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie Zito. For the past 2 years, I've been working with the Wisconsin Association for the Deaf, for Wisconsin RID and other stakeholders, keeping people updated on our interpreter licensure bill. So we are here to answer any of the questions you may have regarding the interpreter licensure bill. How many of you are familiar with licensure? Are there any questions? We do have a few minutes that we could answer any questions you may have.
You have when I was talking with you earlier, I was asking about what is the resistance to having standards that require CEU, ongoing education. What's the resistance there? That's very common for many professors. So why is there resistance?
That is a great question. Why are people resistant to having CEU requirements in the licensure? Well, licensure is a very complicated issue, and over the recent years, our national certification has changed tremendously, and we have several tests available now for certification through 2 different organizations, and both organizations have varied requirements for CEUs. The other thing is that licensure does not require certification. So how do we make sure that people do earn CEUs while they have their license? You know, some people feel, oh, I keep trying to address and pay to my national organization, and now I have this other organization. So we want to standardize the CEU process. And some people are resistant to that standardization. Is there another question?
Okay, we need to watch that. We need to watch that.
How will the bill improve?
So just to summarize, her question was how did the failures of licensure can be improved this next cycle? What can we do?
Is that your question? Why did the current bill that was introduced, why did that bill fail? And what things can be changed to make sure that the bill passes the next time it is proposed? That is another great question. Why did that bill fail? You know, right now, the deaf and interpreter communities are struggling with what is the definition of a qualified interpreter? What do you need to work and be reimbursed for your work? There are changes happening in the interpreting field, and recently, like new interpreters that just recently graduate, they aren't qualified to work in any setting. And how can we reflect that in the license itself? So we need to think about restrictive settings instead of restrictive time. Can an interpreter have those skills, and where is a safe place for those interpreters to develop their skills? We need your support with that. We realize that the bill failed because of a time restriction. That was not effective. You know, people say, well, I can renew my license up to 2 times and I'm still not certified, so I'm going to go elsewhere. We need to have an environment where skill and quality can improve. We need to have an opportunity for those interpreters to be able to develop their skills, as well as protecting the deaf community. We want to make sure that the deaf community is getting the most qualified interpreter. And we want to follow suit to other states. If there is a possibility of having dual licensure, if an interpreter has a license here in Wisconsin, they should be allowed to practice in the state of Illinois. We want to raise our standards. This is Jody. I just would like to add a little bit more to Stephanie's comments. Our license bill supports the community, whether it be the deaf community, the hearing community, interpreter community. The bill had a lot of support overall. Unfortunately, there was a last-minute amendment, and the Assembly was willing to pass the bill, and then last minute, there was an amendment. And that amendment put everything to a halt as to what to do. The assembly did not know how to handle it, and I just want to let you know that the original bill would have passed. But the following week, when the assembly came together again, they wanted to add amendment number 2. And the amendment was not what we wanted. And we asked them not to allow it to pass because it would have allowed interpreters to work in any setting without any type of restriction. And that would not provide protection to the deaf community. So now we want to provide you with information so that when you meet with your representatives and senators, educate them, help them to understand. If somebody offers an amendment, be aware that that amendment is not what we want. Because we want to be able to write a bill that will make it through both the Assembly and Senate. If there are any further questions, please address us after this session. And now we're going to turn it over to Jerry.
Good morning. My name is Jerry Labadakis, and I'm current president of HLLA, the Hearing Loss Association of America. We're pleased to be here with you today and take part in this day again. It's really important that we come together in these communities, with the deaf community and interpreters in the hearing loss community. But there are some differences. We have some similarities, things that we'd like to see together, but we also have some differences. And that's important for us. We feel that the hearing loss community is invisible. The deaf are more out there and are more aggressive in what they do and out in front and publicly. You're able to see that people are deaf. Hearing loss people are invisible. They blend into the crowd. They just want to get by, basically, and get through their day. So they tend to not hear things, tend to not understand a word. In a room like this, it's just a bunch of jumble. So there is a difference. And today we're looking at two things, two issues that we would like to consider to work with the legislature on. And one of them is magnetic hearing loops in buildings. There are about probably 900 hearing loops now in Wisconsin in churches and schools, not schools, churches mostly, and theaters and venues. The Milwaukee Intermodal Station now has a hearing loop, which is really great. That's important for us. In public buildings, we don't understand, to comply with ADA, why they shouldn't have hearing loops. ADA has standards that organizations get around pretty easily and try to provide accommodations, but it's not what we really need. Magnetic hearing loops are really the answer. It's clear sound right into your ear. Anyway, that's one issue. The other issue is our telecoils, which is a little wire inside a hearing aid. About 75% of hearing aids have telecoils, but a lot of audiologists don't tell people about them for some reason. Whether they think their patients are too old to know how to push a button or whatever. But we would like to see some sort of mandate, maybe it'd be an administrative rule, I don't know, or legislation that would require audiologists to inform their patients about the availability T-coils in their hearing aids. That's pretty simple, and we'd also like them, also require them to demonstrate to their patients how a T-coil works. With a T-coil, you just push a button, it accesses hearing loops, it accesses phones, and it's really important to the hearing loss community. Hearing loss community is about nearly 200,000 people in Wisconsin. So it's pretty big, and it's a lot of people who I say just want to blend in, do their work day to day, and not really be noticed. So anyway, well, I'm pleased to be here. I thank Katie, and I thank Rebecca and Sarah for the work they've done putting this together again, and for you folks for coming out on a day that may be a little threatening later on. So that shows that you're passionate about this. That's terrific. So thank you very much. Talk to you later.
Good morning. My name is Katie Schmidt. I am president of the Wisconsin Association for the Deaf. I want to thank Jerry and Jody to work collaboratively with us to provide this day. Numbers are powerful, and we are growing. Being able to address senators and representatives, just like Senator Teston mentioned, numbers have power, and it is so important for you to be here. Thank you, each one of you, for being able to come today, even though we have some adverse weather possibilities. But WAD has two issues. Many people struggle getting direct mental health services or outpatient services or even hospital services. And deaf people should not have to have that struggle. Other states have direct services for deaf individuals, and this is the time for us to stop accepting it. Now it's time for us to do something, change the system to make sure that individuals have access just like the majority of individuals in Wisconsin. And this is not just an issue for deaf, it affects hard of hearing and deafblind individuals. And that is why we have come together with HLAA and try to figure out what the future is going to look like. How can we change this? And the other issue is there's not enough direct services. For example, legal services. There's not enough direct services, so we want to be able to establish a commission so that individuals can have access to everything that they need. The other states that have deaf commissions or deaf, hard of hearing, deaf blind, we are still researching as to what those other states offer. And we are doing research to see if we still want to pursue the commission idea or if we need to take a different avenue. And what would be most effective. We want to be able to have direct services for people in Wisconsin when they go to a movie, to be able to see that movie with captioning. The Wisconsin Disability Rights is an organization that has been helping us, giving us advice. So remember, you are people of Wisconsin, and we want to make sure that you have access and have quality of life. So now I am going to have to talk about what's going on for today. And I want to thank everyone for being so flexible. We expected 180 people, and our last count is we have about 80 people. So that's quite a difference in numbers, and people are not coming because of the weather. Originally, we were going to have red, blue, and green groups, but now we are going to have everybody gather in this room again after lunch. And various legislators will be joining us in this room. If you brought your lunch, you can eat 225 Northwest, 300 Northeast, 328 Northwest, and 415 Northwest. There is information posted outside. If you decide to go out and eat on the square, make sure that you are back in this room by 1 o'clock. So after lunch, please return to this room instead of the original plan. It is now 11:50. We are supposed to have a group picture. But because everybody's here, we want to take advantage and get that picture right now so that after the meeting with the legislators, you will be able to start your travel home.
I have a question related to all these organizations you were talking about setting up a commission. We do need to meet with our representatives and be active. Are we going to be doing any testifying related to that? I mean, obviously, they didn't even understand the interpreter licensure bill. So you just mentioned someone else that did, and Representative Tennyson did not also understand it, he said at the beginning, but it really made an impact on him. And so the fact that we come here every year, I don't know, is there some other way to teach them in a more efficient way for them to really understand what's going on?
We would like legislators to be aware of the issues that deaf people are facing, such as having VRI in hospitals instead of bringing in an interpreter on site. So these are the things that we want to work on. And Brian, that's a good question. How can we be effective and share stories with your legislators? This afternoon, you will not have an opportunity to share your stories, but what you can do is meet your representative or your senator and plan to meet with them in your own community. Have coffee, have lunch. Typically, they will meet with you and you will have an opportunity to talk about the various struggles that you go through. If we don't share our stories with the legislators, how are they going to know that we actually have struggles? They're in their own world and they think deaf people or hard of hearing people, they're not complaining, so life must be good. Post on their Facebook pages. Most of them have a Facebook page and you can share your stories and they will contact you. Write letters, media, social media, just keep inundating them with information. Remember, stories have a great impact and they will remember that you did have complaints and that you do have struggles. So now at this moment, let's go and have our picture taken before everybody breaks for lunch. The people in the mezzanine, we are going to ask them to come down to the second floor here at this time. Thank you. And we're going to ask everybody to fill in the seats.
We're going to have the photographer up there, so we can have everyone just come right here, like in this area up there, and up the top. We could come up here because we're gonna have Greg take it. Yeah. So it's right up there. He's up there.
What, everyone, so we need everybody up here.